Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to make a bird using the Bezier curve. So what is a Bezier curve? Bezier curve is basically a curve which is used to make difficult objects like a bird which cannot be made using the normal shapes. So how the Bezier curve works? So Bezier curve got two anchor points and two control points. The anchor points, as you can see in this figure, are the two red dots, and the control points are the blue dots. From the anchor points, the basic curve is anchored to the uh, canvas surface, and the control points are the ones which gives the shape of a curve to the basic curve. Like this, if I move these blue points, the shape of the curve changes in different directions, but the anchor points remain static. So just like that, we are going to use this Bezier curve to make our bird. So let's go and make it. So to start with, the first thing I need to do is let's open the p5.js web editor, and then we are going to use the text function to call the mouse x and mouse y values, to find the mouse x and mouse y values on the canvas surface. So I'm positioning them at 230, and for the mouse y also I'm going to use another text, mouse y 220 and 30. So now I'm going to show you, as I move the text, move the mouse, the text appears on it, but there is, let's make some space more in between them. Yeah, it's much more better now. So as I move my mouse, I can see the values of the mouse x and mouse y is visible to me. So now the next thing we have to do is to use the Bezier curve. So for the Bezier curve, what we have, there are four parameters, as I've told you. So in these four parameters, they are grouped together as the x and y values. So the first two parameters, the x and y, are the first anchor point. So the first two are the first anchor point, x1, y1, and then the x2, y2 are the first control point. The x3, y3 is the second control point and the third parameter, and x4, y4 is the end anchor point. So now if you can see, let's make our first Bezier curve using the same things. So first let's find a position. Let's say it's 220, 109. Let's keep it there. Let's, yeah, 220, 115. So okay, 115, that's our first point. That's the anchor point, first anchor point. Now we have to move up a bit, and 213 and 94, that's our control point. And then we move a little bit more, so 193, 83, and then the final anchor point, which is 179, 93. So right now there is no curve to see, but as I press the play button, you can see the curve, and you can see the curve got a fill in it also. So this kind of a fill, as we move around, it changes in different directions and it doesn't look very nice. So I'm going to use the no fill function to make it disappear. And then I forgot to use the stroke. Give the stroke to the text also. By default the text is appearing black, but it's better to give the text and the Bezier curve their separate stroke and stroke weights. So let's copy this and give the stroke and stroke weight to the Bezier curve as well. So just going to increase the stroke weight of the Bezier curve, and there you go. Now you can see that I have a curve, and this curve is got a first anchor point, the end anchor point, and the control points. Now let's make it more further down and see what we can do to make the rest of the body. So Bezier curve, when we do the second Bezier curve, so the last two parameters, the anchor point, we will give it in the same in the first as the first anchor points of the next curve we are making. So we start from 179.93, and then we are going to go down a bit slowly. So we are going to go down, so 167.107, 167.107, and then as we move down more, 159, 160, 123, and then as we down more, so 158, 131. So now let's see how the curve appear. The curve appearing, but it's a little bit more straight, so I want it to be a little bit further away. So what I need to change, if you can see, the first point is anchoring it, the second point seems to be a little needs to go in. If I go in a bit, I need to change the X in this and see what it can do. Now you can see it's curved more nicely than before. Now let's move on. Again we will do what? We will going to take the last two values, X and Y, which is the last end anchor point, and use that to make the first end anchor point. So we don't have to think about the first bit. Now we have to make it down a little bit. Let's say over here 150, 153, and then we have to curve a bit. So I think 134, 164, 168, and then the final point is this 118 and 179. Let's see how it will appear. You can see this is appearing nicely. You can see you can make any curve very nicely with this. If you need adjustment, you can change the values and it will be adjusted. So now move on, last one, last value of the previous one, and that becomes the first value of this. And now I have to move down a bit like this here, and it's 93 to 103, and then a little bit more down, and it's 78, 222, and then my final point, which is 69, 237. And now we will see what we have made made like this. Okay, now let's move it in and make the wing of the bird. So we are going to take this last point and go up a bit to make the bird's wing. Right, so now again the same repeatedly we will do 69 and 237 first points, and we have to go in. So I'm going to go in like this, and 106 228, and then the next value is 132 to 13, and then to go in a bit more, 145 95. Okay, let's see how it appears. It doesn't work the way we wanted. 95 is the wrong one, so I think it was 195, not 95. Yeah, okay, so we made this. Now we have to come down from there, and let's move up a bit more and then come down. So let's do that. Start again from the same place. Wing part, and then we have to give the same value, 145 95 or 195 again, and then we have to come down from there. So we will follow this, and 123 to 17, 23 121 to 18, and then bit more down, so 98 to 39, and then more down, 76 to 63. Let's check now. Yes, you can see that we have came down. Now I have to make a round bit for the tail of the bird. So start from the first bit again, 76 and 263, and now let's make the bit, and we have to curve down, so let's say 73 to 80, and then 73 to 80 we have to go a little bit here around, so 85 to 82, and then we have to move up all the way up, so let's say go 145 to 23. You can see we have made that. Okay, but as you can see the tail of the bird is not very long, so let's make it a bit longer, and then let's go up, and yep, let's do that. So for making it bit longer we have to go down bit more, like 60 and 279. Still, and say it's 90. Let's do it a little bit more, 95, and let's do this also, something like 92. Yeah, a little bit more will work. Let's say it's 300, and this is also 98. So basically what I'm doing is I'm changing the uh, x values right now here. So if I tidy code, it will be much more visible to you, right? Okay, so if I do a little bit more, so y I'm changing, x I'm not changing. Let's change the x to 62 and 87 also. 62 didn't work well, so let's change it, this x and y, to 66. This work. Okay, and let's make this part also a little bit lower, so let's make it 134 rather than 145. 134, 238. So now it's looking much better. Now I have to make the lower part of the body with the Bezier. And let's just start from the same first position, which is 134, 238, and then we move up 40, 185, 220, and then a little bit more, so 206, 175, and then 204, 152. So let's run and see. No, it's not, we have to make it a little bit further down, so let's see, it should be from here a little bit more down, so we have to increase this, so around 90s, 195. Let's change the x again, let's tidy the code so you can see properly. So the x value 195, if I change it, and in the y also let's increase it to 230, and let's see, yeah, it starts to increase, which is I think so it's fixed. Okay, now do we want a little bit more? Maybe not. Okay, so basically in this you have to fix by seeing that what you can do using this mouse function, mouse values, and again I'm going to, and now this time I'm going to make a rounded inside one, so 201 and 130, 201, 130, and then 207 and 123, and then the last value should be the first Bezier curve's first anchor point, which is 220 and 115, because it's going to be attaching to this part of. Now you can see the main body of the bird is ready. Now we only need the beak of the bird and the uh, legs of the bird or the feet of the bird. Okay, let's tidy again. That's better. So for the beak of the bird, let's make the beak, use again the Bezier, and let's say the Bezier curve says that let's go up to 18 and 109. So this is going to be a separate one we are going to make. So it's 218, 218 and 107. That's the start point. Then we are going to make a longer one, so 242, 108, and then a little bit here, so 249, 109, or this way, okay, 236 and 113, and the end point is back here, 220, 112. So you can see the first one appeared, but it's not very long one, so we can change the longer bit of it by going further down. So it was 242 at first. Study code again. Yeah, 242 in the x-axis. Let's increase it to 252, and let's see, that's better. And a little bit more space, so their coming back value is, instead of 220, let's say is 222, and the y value also needs to be increased, so let's say it's 114. Yeah, that's better. So you made the beak of the bird. So let's make the other this is the upper part of the beak, so let's make the lower part of the beak. So when I do the lower part of the beak, it starts from the a little bit lower, like 220. It will start 221, 117. So 221, 220, 117. And then it needs to go down a bit, so 228, 117. And then it needs to come back, so let's say 224, 121. And then it comes back to the original, which is 220. So let's say it's 222 and 117, 118, one more. Oh, so too small, so let's increase the size of it, and it needs to go down a bit more, so let's say it's 120. We'll have some space, and it needs to increase in size as well, so let's say 234 is a good idea. .234, and it needs to come back and join this part, so it's 215, not 221. 15, 20. Yes, now you can see the bird has the upper part and the lower part of the beak as well. So if we make it go down a bit more, the Y, you can see the thing. Yes, now you can see properly the bird. Now let's make the legs or the eye first. Let's make the eye first and then the legs of the bird, so it looks more like a bird. Bezier, and let's say again that it starts from 197, 198, 107, 198, 107, 107, and then it goes up 194, 103, 103, and then it moves down a bit, so 188, 107, and finally down to 186, 107. So we can make it more down. 111 was the one suggested by the mouse, so let's make that. Yeah, that's better. Now let's make the legs. Legs are also just like the eye we made. So we start from here, and 172 to 33. And then we go up 158, 234, and then little bit round 156, 236, and then we come back down 156, 239. Yeah, so it needs a little bit tidying up, so it needs to go back up. So 158 instead of 158, let's say it's 165. No, 165 didn't work. 158, let's make it go back, and instead of 234, let's go up by 230, because the y is changing, not the x. Yeah, that's better. Now the same way we have to make the other feet also. So if you are making the body and it's in continuation, you can make it in continuation, and then you use the last two as the first parameter of the next one. But if you are making separate parts like the legs and the things, then you need different Beziers for different parts of the body. So like the eye, the beak, they are not connected to each other. The legs, they are not connected, they are just additional things. So 176, 227, and then we go up 178 2, and then come down 183 to 21, and the final one is 183 to 24. Okay, let's tidy. And as you can see, this leg is nice, but it's still a little bit short so we have to make it further away. So let's say it's 25. Y, it's there, 185. Yeah, but 185 is not enough. Let's say 175, 195. So what I'm doing is basically adjusting, trying to adjust the things so that it works for me. So this is how we adjust little by little so it works for us. So needs to be a little bit more closer, so maybe 187. Yeah. So we made the bird with the wings and the eyes and the beak. So if you want to add any other functionalities, is the sound. The bird can react to the sound, and you can easily use that as to make the bird like speak when you are speaking. So that also I will show you how to do it, but let's wait for the next video to do that. So thank you for now. Bye.